an incredible time of year. Baseball is back. Considering all that we went through around the game in 20 and 21, college baseball, high school baseball, Major League Baseball, spring training is buzzing in Florida and Arizona. But let's start with the babies. High school baseball. The perfect game High School Showdown is just now days away. And we're excited. We'll have a full streaming schedule for you. And coming up on this week's show, we'll be joined by Jered Goodwin, the great scout, the great rider. He will tell us about all the guys we need to keep an eye on that we're coming to Hoover, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham. We'll have a conversation with a young man who, maybe the number one pick here in a couple of years. He's a 22. His name is Dylan Lesko. As a high school junior, already up to 96 miles an hour. We'll get to know a very special name from that High School Showdown who may be picked in the 2021 draft very, very high. And the very best 16U players in the nation, travel ball, All-Americans who got it done in 2020. But let's start with PG's High School Showdown, a look back at last year's event.
When I think about the perfect game, High School Showdown, I think about the best players from all around the world coming to compete.
We get to play against some real deal guys. Some of those guys will probably be in the big leagues in the next few years.
Just excited to play some of the top competition in the country this weekend.
We're from Montgomery, Alabama. We're here to compete and take it all home.
Seeing all the scouts out here that I've talked to and really just trying to perform to them, show them I'm a top-notch guy.
I'm Dylan Lesko. We play for Buford Wolves, and we came to Hoover to win it all.
It's fun. It's really fun.
Well, great sizzle video, but the numbers that go with the sizzle video are self-explanatory. When you look at an event that is pretty darn brand new, you can see how historical it already has been with the college commitments, with the nearly 200 players drafted. Look at the guys who were drafted. It was just a 5-round draft last year. Owen Casey, a young man out of Canada who played in this event a couple of years ago. Walker, Santos, Jordan, Joe Adell is in the big leagues. This year, 27 teams at the High School Showdown. 38 teams at the Showdown Academies division. That's 65 total teams. We'll be streaming daily, so check us out on Perfect Game TV, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the championship of the academies. You can read all about the coverage and the scouting on the 7th. And Jered Goodwin is Perfect Game's national scouting director. He'll be there with his team, finding the very best players, not just in the nation, Jered, because they're from around the nation, but also from down in Puerto Rico. Be true to your school, my friend, and I know with your high school background and your coaching background, you love this event.
Oh, I love this event, and it's just a testament to how quickly this has grown to get this type of talent. It's not just a go and round robin play type event. This is for a championship in front of a number of MLB scouts. It was actually absolutely loaded last year. So getting this type of talent, these type of storied high schools, and also the new age with the academies, and all of them coming to Hoover, Alabama, and competing for titles in all different age groups. This isn't a 17U event, 18U event. This is everybody. We get to see the 2021s and how they fare against the 2024s and vice versa. What the platform is, what the stage is. I can't tell you how excited I was to get there last year and how impressed I was to see guys flip the switch and play for a community and play for each other, play for their friends that they've grown up with their whole life. And it's just such a cool event that perfect game has started in such a short amount of time for us to go in and really evaluate another part, and that's the character. How much do you care? How important is winning? And then let's combine those with the tools, and I can't wait to get to Hoover.
Let's dive deep because you know so many of these talented, gifted players. You know them very well and you have for years. Let's start teams, and you give me teams and mix in players with those teams. This is going to be fun.
This year is another loaded lineup, and I'm just going to start with our number 1 ranked team, IMG. They bring an absolutely loaded roster. This roster would rival, honestly, any travel ball roster in the country. James Wood is a bona fide first-round type talent, maybe some of the biggest upside in the entire class. That left-handed swing produces just amazing loft, power potential. Tommy White is a known name, middle of the lineup type guy. He provides toughness in the lineup, but also huge power. Mason Albright has been spectacular in the early going in the high school ranks, as well as last summer where he was an All-American, as well as Drew Gray, who's got some of the biggest upside as far as the left-handed pitching goes in the class. He's still kind of figuring out how to kind of control and harness his really good stuff. Drake Bernardo has a lot of experience playing shortstop. He actually was a standout pitcher on the mound last year at this event, but locking down that shortstop position. And then we've got Elijah Green on that roster, who's our #1 ranked player in the 22 class. An amazing physical talent. A lot of comps to Joe Adell, actually, as you mentioned before. They even have some 2023s, two of the top guys. Stone Russell is an accomplished defender. And then Brady Neal's doing a lot of the work behind the plate as a young catcher, 2023 committed to LSU. So they're just absolutely, they're going to be so fun to watch. Yeah, as you say it. I mean, and I'm not touching on some guys that would be standouts for so many other programs around the country. I'm just touching on the tip of their roster, and it's going to be so much fun to watch them.
I didn't even know. By the way, I didn't even know Bladen Plain had made the move down there. I mean, he was a kid that made the move to Family Guy, small town. Right. Wow, that's ridiculous. You got some Alabama schools too with a handful of names too. Bob Jones.
Bob Jones is unbelievable, and getting through their 3-4 hole or 4-5 hole is going to be just intense with Max Feliz and Slade Alford. Slade Alford hit a couple balls last year at this event that were just majestic shots, and it was cold and it was fog and it was everything, and it didn't bother that guy at all. I mentioned Solis as well, huge right-handed power too, and can really throw the ball behind the dish. So that's going to be a handful for whoever gets them to have to go through that lineup 3, potentially 4 times with those guys just chomping at the bit. Vestavia, another one, a local team, they're going to throw out Grant Cherry amongst a really well put together lineup. But Cherry's a low 90s arm, can get up a tick higher. The breaking ball really made a step forward late in the summer, so he's going to be interesting to see kind of how that winter workouts work for him. And then of course right down the road we're going to be playing some games there at Hoover High School. They bring in 2 of the most interesting young kids in the country. One of them's Walter Ford, a 2-way guy, actually made his Hoover debut at this event last year and was spectacular. He was up to 91, hard breaking ball, but he can also hit now. He's going to play some infield, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did some damage in this national event, as he's, for a young kid, has some ability and has some kind of moxie to him. And RJ Hamilton, a great 2-sport athlete, just absolutely electric with the legs. He was spectacular at the perfect game. Junior national last year, showed real bat speed. So they're going to be 2 fun ones to watch of these local high schools right around Birmingham. So I'm excited to see all 3 of those. Obviously kind of some hometown flavor, but these guys are no stranger to national type spotlights.
I'm only here to let you catch your breath, quite frankly, and I know there is another school that is very deep, and that's Buford High School. We're going to hear from Dylan Lesko a little bit later on in this show. Great conversation is planned, but Dylan Lesko is not alone on that team. I know it's Buford and a couple others you want to touch on.
Yeah, Buford was so much fun. We'll talk about Dylan really quick first. The last time I saw him at this event, he threw a no-hitter. That's the type of excitement that's going to come when he steps on the mound. The velocity spiked this spring, still showing the same pitchability. We know so much about him. He's just, every time out, he's a huge draw for us because we kind of marvel at his consistency. But he's not alone, like you mentioned. Riley Stanford, honestly, it's like a starter kit to throw triple digits. Obviously, he's been up to 96 and 97s before. But this is a guy that if he came out there and he's closing down a game for Lesko or something like that, and we see a 99 or 100, I don't think anybody would be surprised at that. Obviously, he's got huge power in the right-handed bat. We're not even touching on how deep this roster is. You're basically throwing a travel ball roster out there for a high school team.
Before I say goodbye to you, we gotta touch on the academies, because there's a real diversity this year in the academies division. Certainly some of them stateside, but also some on the kind of the unofficial 51st state, as Puerto Rico is very strongly representative. Give me just a few things to look out for. We'll be streaming some of the games from the academy side, so what should we look for there?
We'll start with our All-American, Edwin Arroyo Augusta. Probably as tooled up as anybody in the country. This could be his coming out party. He's a switch hitter with real actions that should stay at shortstop, a big arm. Another guy that is an extremely hard worker. He's constantly working at his craft. He is playing over here in Florida with Puerto Rico, not playing sports at the moment. So he's getting a ton more reps than he would normally get back home, and I think it's going to pay huge dividends for him. You mentioned the Puerto Rican flavor that we have. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz was spectacular at the World Showcase just 6 weeks ago or so. He showed at least a tick above average fastball with good command, huge projection. He could be that next guy that's like, wow, you made those jumps, and we could see you making huge strides in professional baseball soon. We're so excited with the type of draft talent that we've got, but also these young kids that we're getting to see compete against guys maybe we never would have because they play in different age groups in the summer. But this event bringing them all together and saying, hey, this is a pound for pound heavyweight event that we're going to see if those 2023s can play up, and then how the 2021s do on this type of setting with all the scouts.
Amazing stuff, Jered. Thank you very much for your insights. We'll see you in Hoover, just outside of Birmingham, my friend.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, Perfect Games High School Showdown, and one of those names that Jered mentioned was Edwin Arroyo. Now, when you think about who Edwin Arroyo is, this is the Perfect Game All-American, and he's a very unique talent, a homegrown talent, if you will, because Arroyo, who at one point injured himself with that right hand, started throwing left-handed and started actually doing that. I mean, that's laughable that you can do that as a left-handed pitcher, but this is a guy that is committed to Florida State, as Jered mentioned, playing a lot in Florida right now, out of Arecibo and Puerto Rico. He's had some unique experiences. His mom is Kitsamar, his dad is Edwin, and if you see Dad, he looks just as young and fit as son there. He's played basketball, he's played volleyball, he ran track. Edwin Arroyo, our local now homegrown talent. He'll be there at Perfect Games High School Showdown. When we come back, a conversation with Dylan Lesko. As Jered just said, a man who keeps getting better and better and better. He can play behind the plate if you want him to. He can get it short and play there, but guess what? His talent is on the mound. We'll talk with a talented young man out of Buford High School in Georgia. This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rollins.
Defense, you can always make a play. Create it in your mind. You're always trying to time when the ball is hitting the bat. Wherever I am, I know where it is. One, two, three, I'm gonna have to start jumping. Nothing more satisfying than making a big play.
Welcome back to Perfect Game Weekly. Yeti, built for the wild, the first team All-American hitters. These are travel team All-Americans. Guys like Jared Jones from East Cobb, an LSU commit. Nick Avano out of Paramus High School up in New Jersey. Jean-Pierre Ortiz, FTB Giant Scout Team. This is a guy that can also throw 93. Tamar Johnson, incredible two-time Select Fest athlete. Michael O'Shaughnessy. This is a guy that's going to Davidson, a talented left-handed hitter, Elijah Green. He's a #1 player in that 2022 class. Jaden Anderson, Team Elite, Duluth, Georgia, Georgia State commit. And yes, it's that Drew Jones, putting together his own career. As far as on the mound goes, Hunter Sanders on the mound is some kind of talented. By the way, that name at the top, we'll talk to him in just a minute. Brandon Barrera is a young man who's a Vanderbilt commit, the #1 left-handed pitcher in the 2022 class. Mitch Voigt, I like Mitch Voigt. Take a look on down the list. Wisconsinite, he's a Michigan commit, Whitefish Bay High School. Some good baseball, some good folks there. Yeti, built for the wild, 16U, Perfect Game Tournament, All-American teams. Let's have a conversation as we look ahead to the High School Showdown. I've enjoyed over the last couple of years getting to know Dylan Lesko. And now we have talented programs like Buford High School who have beautiful locker rooms. It might not be the most organized locker room in the world, but Dylan, I envy you. Look, I envy you getting a chance to have a place where you can gather, get together, be safe. Buford High School, how excited are you to be representing your high school? You lost last year. How much fun is it to have this year going?
I mean, just the tournament all, it's really fun just being out there with the best high schools around the country and being with my teammates and best friends, just competing and having fun, trying to win a championship, really.
So, Dylan, last year in this event, you threw a no-hitter. What went right? As you recollect the event, and then right after that, your high school season was shut down. As you recollect that day, throwing a no-hitter, one of the best high school tournaments in North America, describe that day for you. Describe what the no-hitter and what went into it.
I mean, it was more the fact that it was a must-win game for us. We had to win to make it into the bracket play, and I knew that. And I trusted my team to score a couple of runs. I mean, we only got one that game, but I felt like it was enough. And they played good defense behind me. They did everything right, and it just helped me compete on the mound and eventually throw the no-hitter.
Let's keep the high school theme going. Let's talk about Stuart Chester, your head coach there with the Buford High School program, and the concept of high school baseball. Look, you've been at showcases. You're going to be a PG All-American in all likelihood. You play travel ball, but this is different. Tell me about the Buford High School program. Tell me about Coach Chester.
High school baseball, it's a lot different than travel for sure, but I really enjoy it because I'm out here with my best friends who I've grown up with, and I see them every day. And I mean, we're all in the common goal. We just want to win state. And I mean, being out here, he pushes us because he knows it's not travel ball, so he has to push us to a different extent and get more out of us, because it's not like travel where you have the best kids all around the country just going on one team. You have to work with what you got. And really, he pushes us every day to be the best we can be and best people we can be, because if we're better people, we'll be better baseball players. And it's really just fun being out here every day with the guys and really just seeing them all grow, and we all have that common goal. It's really fun to be out here.
Dylan, a couple of areas of growth I always like to check in when we have a conversation. Let's start in the classroom, though. I know your mom and dad will be glad that I started there. Let's start in the classroom. Last time we connected, heart of the pandemic, you were rocking a 4.0, and you pulled an AP Statistics 100% A out of your backside. Somehow you got that done. Where are you on the GPA now? How are you crushing yourself academically this year? I'm always impressed. Now as a Vandy commit.
They always say junior year is the hardest, and I didn't believe them until this year, because this year is a little tough, especially with the whole COVID stuff. I'm still in school trying to do my best, but I have all A's, one AP Chem class. It's kind of kicking my butt right now, but I'm still doing my best with trying to get all A's.
AP Chemistry?
Yes, sir. It's tough.
Who teaches that class?
My teacher, Miss Cole, she teaches it.
All right, Miss Cole, be good to him. He's working hard, and you know, if you don't buy it, then don't give him that A. But he's working hard. He's got a lot going on. So AP Chem. Now the baseball part of it. You took advantage during shutdown, and you had a great summer. Shockingly, you got a ton of work in on the mound. Since we saw you in the summertime, Dylan, what part of your game has improved the most, and how has it improved?
I think more it's not a part of my game. It's me, really. I took this fall off for the first time and really focused on improving myself. I spent a bunch of time in the weight room, long tossing, a soft tissue therapist, just keep my body in shape. And I think it's really helped. I feel a lot stronger this season and hoping for better gains this year.
Dylan, are you a better pitcher because you've played all over the diamond? You've caught, we're not far removed from you catching. You played short. Do you feel like you're a better pitcher because you stayed athletic while you got bigger and stronger?
I think so. I think it taught me how to really take care of my body and move in different ways. So being a pitcher just makes me more athletic on the mound, and I feel like it suits me better.
If you look back on last year's travel ball schedule, look, I'm looking at it right in front of me. There were amazing outings, a 16U WWBA. You were up to 96. You had ridiculous strikeout totals in that. You struck out 27 and 12 and a third. Do you have a moment last year when you look back on last summer, you're like, boom, that moment for me meant the world for my confidence? If so, when was that?
I think it was WWBA pitched against the Canes. It was, I think maybe the couple times when I pitched, we ended up losing, but just that game, just pitching against probably the best lineup in the whole country at our age, and just still competing and giving up, I think, 2 runs to that lineup. I think that really just boosted my confidence and just told myself I can compete against anyone, because that lineup is special and I competed against them the whole time.
So wait a minute. How do you improve facing better hitters? You may go out in high school games sometime, and I mean this very respectfully, because one of those guys you strike out, maybe your doctor someday. They may not be a great baseball player, but how do you improve facing a 1 through 9? What part of you improves when you face a lineup like that that's got all future college guys, all future draft guys?
I think it's more of the mental aspect, because they might get a hit here and there in high school and you can work around it. But they're in travel, they get one hit and a person just as good is coming up. So you really have to be mentally tough to get by that one hitter who may have got a hit and focus on the next batter, because as soon as your mental game just like goes away, you can turn bad in a second.
You had a time when you were able to slip over to the East Cobb complex and do some working out kind of during the pandemic, and you ran into a big leaguer. You've shared that story with me quietly. I don't know that anybody knows that story. I'd love to know that story, the name of the big leaguer, the advice you got, and kind of the aha when you're out there and you have a special moment like that. Remember with us. Tell us.
It was really just a day I was going to the bullpen and get some work and hitting, and my coach told me that some kid was trying out for our team, so he told me to stay and watch him. I was like, hey, I'll see what he's like. Ended up being Dansby Swanson coming to get some ground ball work in, and I was amazed. I mean, I didn't expect it, and I think it was cool just seeing him there, like realizing that like he came to the same program that I did and see where he is today, that it's possible. And then just I got to toss with him a little bit before he took some ground balls, to just get picking his mind and talking to him a little bit. It was one lifetime experience for sure.
So how does a big leaguer work out when he's going through a simple, hey, I'm at the youth field or the young person field? How does a big leaguer work out that stood out in your mind in comparison to everybody else, right? In comparison to all of us humans. And you're on your way there, but what about his prep did you learn when you watched him closely, Dansby Swanson?
I think it was more the fact that like what he does is really similar to what we do. Like nothing was too different, but it's how he does it, how he takes the field, and like how he approaches every rep, that you can tell that he's something different, because just his attitude towards the game was different than most kids our age. But everything else he does is what we do every day. It's just how he does it.
So final question for you, and thanks for hanging out in your fancy locker room. I'm uber impressed by all of it. But what do you hope happens after this high school season in the summer of 2021? What are you looking forward to most? It's going to be a busy and fun summer. Kind of walk me through some of the goals you have.
Personally, I just want to get better and have a good summer. I mean, I'm looking forward to hopefully trying to be out here, want to stay with my best friends, and going into summer, having a good summer, and really just spending time with those guys and competing every day, trying to win championships, and all of us just getting better.
Okay, I'll say it for you. I hope you make every team you want to make, certainly too. I hope you represent our country if you want to do that. And I also hope you're a perfect game All-American. So I'll go ahead and say it for you. We look forward to seeing it all that. Hey, Dylan, we're excited to take our entire team to come down just outside of Birmingham. Best of luck to you and Buford. Thanks for hanging with us.
No, thank you for having us.
So the interesting thing about Dylan Lesko, for me anyway, is that he's gone through this journey. Everybody wanted him to sign. It was eventually Vanderbilt and Tim Corbin. But he'll tell you, he learned the most on the college recruiting experience from his older sister, Caitlin, a good lacrosse player who started off heading in one direction and then ended up out in California at the University of Redlands. I love the fact that he leaned on Big Sis to learn how to take this journey when he may be in a couple of years the #1 overall pick. Thank you, Dylan Lesko. And by the way, we'll see you and your teammates at the High School Showdown. Let's take a peek at our upcoming schedule. Basically, get up with us in the morning if you're out west especially. But teams like Daphne and Helena and that talented IMG team, which is just full of draftable players, Carrollton as well, we'll really expose and take a look at a lot of the Academy's teams on Friday. So teams down from Puerto Rico, those from Alabama and from Georgia. Again, more draft players. Then it's Championship Saturday, the white, the blue, the red championship of the Perfect Game High School Showdown. That's a beautiful facility, by the way, the Hoover Met. It's where the Southeastern Conference holds their baseball championship each and every year. And by the way, it's where Michael Jordan, not too many years ago, played right field for the Birmingham Barons. High school baseball, front and center. Want to thank Jered Goodwin, certainly, and Dylan Lesko, and you for loving the sport and finding us each and every week. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. My name's Darren Sutton.